Hello and welcome to the Hindu. Manipur has been in the grip of ethnic violence for the past 1 year now. It started on May 3, 2023. More than around 250 people have been killed so far. The recent cycle of violence, which started on November 7, has claimed at least 22 lives so far. In one instance, a tribal woman was burnt to death alive. And in another incident, three women and children were snatched by armed militants from the precincts of security force camp, and their bodies were later found floating in a river in neighboring Assam. Uh, the women and children, they belong to a Methi family, and they had taken shelter in the premises of a CRPF camp and nearby Bekra police station in Jiribam district, because they had been displaced from their homes in June this year when violence started in Jiribam. Till June, Jiribam had escaped violent incidents, an area with a mixed population. The district has become the new epicenter of violence in the northeastern state. The gruesome killings led to some actions by the Ministry of Home Affairs. The Armed Forces Special Act was reimposed in the limits of six police stations in in five districts, four most in the valley. And the ministry is also rushing additional 5,000 central armed police forces or the paramilitary to the state in wake of the rising violence. This is in addition to 2,000 personnel that they sent last week, the arrival of whom will start from today. And this is other than the army, the Assam Rifles, and the state police, which are present in the state. So there are a lot of boots on the ground. Now, let me come to my colleague. Let me introduce you to my colleague, Abhinay Lakshman. We will be discussing the dynamics of the Manipur violence, which has been ongoing for more than 18 months now. So, Abhinay, I would like to come to you and ask you about Jiribam. As
Yeah.
we have been seeing for the past, since November 7, that Jiribam is the new cycle of violence, and it is not only November 7. The violence in Jiribam started in June.
Yeah.
And all this while Jiribam had remained peaceful, it is a place where people from multiple ethnicities live. So, what really has triggered violence in this state bordering Assam? And what is your view on this?
Yeah. So, like you said, it's not the November is just the newest manifestation of what is taking place in Jiribam, which started sometime in June. Like a few months before that as well. But that district, given its demography, there are mixed populations. There are Metis families that live there, Mar families live there, Vishnu Priya, Bengali people, both Hindus and Muslims. In fact, I think like 50% of the population in Jiribam speaks Bengali. And the trade with Silchar is closer to Jiribam than Imphal is to Jiribam. So
This
it's
is
more
Assam.
in Assam, right? So it is closer to the state of Assam, for trade, for business, for everyday essentials that people live there and consume. So that is the kind of place it is. So and even when you're reaching there from Imphal, it's through a lot of mountains and hills, and the highway that goes through NH37, I believe, which finally goes into Assam also from Manipur, is a very complicated road. So supplies and everything is difficult. It's almost cut off from the capital valley of Imphal, and so it was one of the most peaceful areas given the situation in the state for the last 1 year. But in June, tensions started escalating. Before that, there were community alliances, people held peace meetings, and somehow the police, Assam Rifle, everybody had managed to keep things under wraps. But June, things changed because first there was a cookie man's body found and abducted. He was actually abducted from his village, and with after his body was found, within 2-3 days, another Meitei civilian farmer's body was found. And at that time, these two specific killings, murders, had led to a lot of rumors as to who had perpetrated the killings, which had started a whole cycle of arson, leading to people being
And this
displaced.
was sorry to interrupt you. This was around the time when the third NDA government was being sworn into power. This was around
Absolutely.
June. Yeah.
Just when the new government had come into about power and they had taken charge, and within the first month this was happening, and definitely within the first 100 days of the government. So as this rumor started going around, arson started picking up. People started getting displaced because of the arson. A lot of Mar villages and neighborhoods in Jiribam town, people had to be displaced. They fled into Assam across the border. A lot of Meitei people who lived in the borders of Jiribam district, which is closer to the Barak River, and Barak River essentially forms part of the border between Manipur and Assam. So there the Meitei villages, which is the Borobekra division, the Meitei villages near the river also got a lot of attacks at that time, and these were the villagers who were displaced and who had come to the Borobekra police station relief camp in June sometime. A lot of these families continue to remain there, and now in November, this escalation of violence has happened once again in specifically the Borobekra area, where civilians from these camps were taken, were abducted, and we saw that their bodies were found in the river. And in the middle of all of this, clearly there was an attack, is what the police calls it, that certain armed militants uh, attacked the Borobekra police station, where the camp was there, the CRPF camp was there, and the civilian refugees were there. And in that, about 10 militants were killed, which officials are saying came from outside Jiribam district. So right now, the approach has been to make sure that everyone inside Jiribam district is on board and nobody from outside Jiribam district is able to enter the district to disturb the peace.
Yeah, and it is quite concerning that the three women and children, which included an 8-month-old boy, a 2-year-old boy, an 8-year-old girl, they were all taken away by armed militants from the custody. It was literally the custody of security forces because they had taken shelter in this place, thinking that they will be safe, and
Yes.
yet they were taken away. And there
not
was
just uh, not just thinking they were safe, they were told they would be safe inside that campus, because that within those campus walls is where the police station is housed. The CRPF personnel who are stationed there are within those walls, and they were also building fresh refugee homes within those walls for these people to stay and feel safe in. So there was ample reason for those civilians to believe they would not be harmed within those four walls, and that has led to the kind of outrage we are seeing that has spilled over to Imphal and even to places in Delhi, where it has really gotten so many people riled up because of the nature of the violence that was inflicted upon them, the condition in which the bodies are found. Although officially we must say that the bodies are being examined, we are unaware of what condition the bodies were found in, and how much time it will take to determine. But in the absence of that, there are still a lot of emotions running high. As a result of this, as a result of which protesters are have used anecdotal evidence based on what people are saying to conclude that a lot of these women were allegedly raped, is what they are saying at protest rallies, and a major call is to take action against that.
This is also because of the of lack of information, clear information coming from the authorities. For one full day, nobody knew where these people were until somebody posted a picture on Facebook of the women and children in captivity, where they're clearly looking scared. Till
Correct.
now, I think the authorities also did not have any clue that they have been abducted. Where have they? Because they thought they were missing. They are missing
Yeah.
because they were part of the same family. And when the photo appeared, it is likely that they were killed the same day, and the body started. They started showing up only from November 14th.
Right.
The
Right.
decomposed body and so there is clearly lack of information, clear information
Very
uh,
much so.
from the police as well as from the central government. Here, I would like to bring in the initiatives taken by the center post these incidents because. As we have seen, there is a clear pattern here. Whenever some violence takes place, the center wakes up and they send some additional forces. And in this recent cycle of violence, they have planned to send say 7,000 additional central forces. But do you think more boots on the ground can really change the situation, or is it we need a more we need a political solution to this.
Definitely, political solution is what seems to be the need of the hour for the larger conflict at play here. But as far as Jiribam is concerned, the boots on the ground may have twin effects. They may go the right way or they may go the wrong way. But civilians, at least in Jiribam, are extremely polarized because on the Kuki Mar side, after the action taken against the 10 militants, as the official called them, there has been a renewed call for the community to boycott other central forces like CRPF, for instance, which was involved in that kind of an exchange of
Yeah, I
fire.
saw some poster which said no food to CRPF, no water to
Exactly.
CRPF.
There were some restaurants are putting up those posters. So far it was a very clear line that one community was not being antagonized or did not feel any threat from central forces, which was the Kukizomi Mar community for this long. But after these incidents, they have started perceiving a fresh level of threat from central forces as well, making it difficult for a lot of people operating within the Jiribam jurisdiction to talk to the people there and make sure that tensions are controlled. On the other hand, a lot of security officials that we have spoken to in Jiribam are claiming that the reimposition of AFSPA, Jiribam is one of the districts where AFSPA has been extended to as a disturbed area.
Like
So
after it
they
was
are
withdrawn in 2022 due to
right.
improvement in security situation.
Correct. So the security officials that we are speaking to there, they're saying that AFSPA might just be the beginning of a new turn of events over there, because it will give them a little bit more control about how to handle certain situations when they arise. But it remains to be seen, and they are also on their toes because they can't take action all at once. People on the ground, they say, are meant to slowly be eased into the control that security personnel want to be having in that area. And
Right.
so they are also going through a lot of measures like population control measures where they want to, like I said, make sure that there are no people operating within Jiribam who don't live in Jiribam. They don't want neighboring districts right across from Jiribam. You have districts like Ferzal and Chirochandpur. So they are arguing that we don't want any elements, any actors coming in from these districts into Jiribam in order to mess up what we are trying to do here.
But there has also been a critique of the AFSPA. That AFSPA is prevalent in the hill districts, but the violence emanating from hills has not stopped because of AFSPA. So how does extending AFSPA to more areas help the situation? This is a debate that is ongoing, and people are also questioning. And it is in this context that the Manipur government, I think, on November 16th, they sent a letter to the Home Ministry asking them to withdraw AFSPA from the
Yes.
newly inducted areas, which most of them are in the valley districts.
Mhm, mhm,
And even the state cabinet meeting last night, it also resolved that center should withdraw AFSPA. So it clearly seems that there seems to be a disconnect between what the center wants and what the state is doing. Because had the state, uh, let us tell our, inform the viewers that when AFSPA was imposed first time in Manipur, it has the powers to impose AFSPA lies both with the center and the as well as the state
mhm,
government. But in Manipur's case, it has always been the state government which has extended or withdrawn AFSPA. But on November 14th, we saw an unusual move by the Union Home Ministry when it suddenly notified these six police stations under AFSPA. And questions the Congress MP Bimal Koijam, he also questioned the rationale behind the decision because he asked that why is center issuing such notification for the state when all this while it had been the state government, and this reflected in the state cabinet meeting yesterday. So clearly the state was not taken on board before imposing this the disturbed area tag on these police stations, or maybe they were told that we are going to do it anyway. They were just informed. So
mhm.
in this context, this the I would like to ask you about the state cabinet meeting last night. What are its major takeaways?
That was a very interesting meeting where they had a very clear idea that they want to hold Kuki militant groups responsible for the abduction of the Métis civilians from Borobekra, like that we were talking about. But there is no clarity yet on who these militants are, in the sense that which groups do they belong to, at what point were these groups proscribed or not. so on and so forth. That was one of the main features of that meeting. And beyond that, it was an attempt to basically get NDA MLAs on board and show a united front, saying that we are being attacked, and this is not going to work. The AFSPA is not going to work. But if we look at the letter, as far as the people who were in attendance, they wanted number one for the civilian deaths, the Borobekra deaths, to be investigated by NIA as a terror case and declare the outfit responsible for these killings as unlawful. Although we have no idea whether a one particular outfit was really responsible for this or not. And secondly, they have said that. All the NDA legislators will decide the future course of action after talking to their respective people, because this was coming in the wake of a lot of people and mobs storming BJP MLAs' homes, ministers' homes
Even
in
the Rashtriya Swayamsevak office in Imphal was
yes,
vandalized
and at
partly.
the private residence of the chief minister as well. So there is a clear indication that the MLAs were very concerned about how their constituents are reacting to whatever they are doing and what decisions they are taking. But interestingly, again with the escalation, we saw National People's Party, which is the second largest party in the Manipur Assembly. Just one day before this meeting last night, they had sent the Conrad Sangma, the chief of the party. He had sent a letter to JP Nadda saying that we are withdrawing support from the NDA for the time being unless there is a change in leadership within Manipur, implying that Chief Minister Biren Singh has to go in order for them to come back into the NDA fold. But at the meeting on 18th, very clearly we saw the attendance list, and four NPP MLAs were present at that meeting. And I don't think there is any news of the NPP in Manipur going to the governor, officially notifying them of
Yes,
withdrawal.
that's a very striking
Uh,
point. They
yeah,
have not
so
written to the governor, or we are not aware of it.
we are
There is
not
no,
aware of it.
yeah.
There is no communication to that effect that the second largest party in the assembly has withdrawn support from the government. We have just a letter that has been exchanged between the two party chiefs, which is Conrad Sangma and BJP chief JP Nadda. And obviously, the meeting last night was also to send a message that we are doing something, and condemning, all the attacks on the ministers and MLAs' houses, saying that please stop attacking our homes. We are taking action and we are standing up to the center, which is what they reaffirmed by the state cabinet also, where they had sent a request to withdraw AFSPA from the valley regions.
Right. So the Home Minister Amit Shah had said on the completion of 100 days of his government at a press conference that government is talking to both the Kuki and Methi groups to bring peace in the state. And we saw one such meeting, I think last month, where it was organized by an intelligence agency,
Mhm.
and the Kukizo leaders and the Methi leaders and the Naga leaders were called for a meeting, but they were not present in the same room. The
Yes.
officials met them separately, and it was said that this is just the beginning. And clearly, after that meeting, the fresh round of killings, I think there has been a setback to whatever gains that they could have achieved. They achieved in that meeting, or they were hoping to gain
Yeah.
in the near future, because the trust deficit between the two communities is huge, and I don't see any concerted efforts being made by either the center or the state to bridge that gap. And in the middle of this, such gruesome killings take place, where an 8-month-old baby is killed just because of his race. And so, do you think this is a point of no return, or still things could be done? And what could be done to
Point of no return. I mean, obviously, it's not our place to determine what is going to be a point of no return for either community. But clearly, things are escalating, and as far as responsibility is concerned, neither the state nor the center has been able to find a way. Like at some point in all conflicts, there are different layers of negotiations that take place. So there has to be an effort to maybe back channel. I don't know. There has to be something that has to be done, which is not visible on the ground. When we talk to community leaders on either sides, they seem equally angry with the center and the state. Both sides arguing that they are unable to see a effort to really do anything beyond acknowledging that the gap exists. And that acknowledgement had come in the meeting in Delhi also, where they decided that, okay, fine, we won't escalate tensions and we will meet you separately. But then once you meet separately, the demands, whatever each community had to say, they said and they left. We all saw them just leave after that meeting, and nothing really came out of it as we saw. And as far as action, I don't know. Supreme Court has said that there's supposed to be a Supreme Court monitored probe that is underway. Multiple commissions have been set up to investigate violence against children, against women during the conflict. And one of these committees, Justice Geeta Mittal's committee, the tenure of that committee has been extended by 6 more months by the Supreme Court in August this year, August 2024. So it just remains to be seen. But I think a lot of the issues right now locally, as far as Jiribam is concerned, as far as Manipur is concerned, lack of information is something that has to be addressed so that civilian populations in those areas know what is happening and are certain about what has happened to victims of their community. For instance, I think it is important for a lot of civilians to know exactly what happened with the Meitei civilians who were abducted from the Borobekra station. Similarly, it's very important that Mar civilians in Jiribam know why the churches and their communities and villages and their
And
people
the
were
woman
attacked,
who was burnt alive.
burnt alive. In fact, the postmortem reports, we have all seen the reports on the postmortem, where it was beyond. I mean, some parts of the bodies had gone beyond conducting any medical procedures on it. They were not able to conduct any medical procedures to determine things.
Hmm.
So a lot of certainty. In fact, I would argue that the killings that started the violence in Jiribam in June, the first two murders, those two murders are yet to be solved. And
Yes.
rumors about how those murders took place continue to fly around inside Jiribam as we speak. So there is a significant threat from misinformation and disinformation and just lack of certainty on what is happening, that is causing fueling a lot of unrest and restlessness among people. Yeah.
Yeah, that is an interesting point you made. In none of the cases that have happened since June, we have seen a decisive action by the police or the security
Yeah.
forces that see these are the people who killed these people and we have arrested them. So we are not seeing that kind of an action playing on the ground, and this is leading to a lot of distrust among the people. And so
Very much so.
most people have like, more than 6,000 weapons were looted from police armories, and only a fraction of them have been recovered. And I think that is also a huge issue because every other civilian is armed there. And
Yes, yes. And as far as the armed civilians are concerned, militant outfits in Jiribam have been posted for a while now, in the sense that even in June, there were security officials who had described in detail encounters that they have had with members of Arambai Tengol and so on and so forth, units that were operating there as far back as June, we can recall. But again, like I said, these killings, they need to be sorted out, and the approach of the police seems to be that even if we are getting closer to solving one of the murders, we need to solve all murders together, because we can't arrest for one murder and show that we are partisan. That logic seems to be operating in the local police very much, which is preventing them from proceeding on any of these individual cases.
so yeah, so at least three cases of the murder and violence against women and children, which happened since November 7, they have been transferred to the National Investigation Agency, and I hope there is some outcome of that investigation. And I think we'll wrap up our conversation with this that Manipur is still on the boil, and with center rushing additional forces, it clearly needs a political situation solution.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for watching.
thank you.